Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport.
And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love.
We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be.
So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. How are you?
I'm good. I was thinking of you because we're going to talk about our word of the year since we're halfway through the year and kind of an update on how overall it's going for us and if things are the same as we expected them to be halfway through 2026 or different and all that. And I was thinking of you, Wendy, because I had a feeling that you would have no idea what your word of the year was. Was I right?
You were absolutely right. I had no idea. I was thinking of my word of the year was possibility, and that was my word of 2025. So at least I kind of was on the right track. So then I'm like, opportunity. I think that was my word of the year for 2024. So over the last 15 minutes on my drive home, I listened to our podcast, the first podcast of 2026.
And what was your word?
I put it on high speed. My word was do simple better.
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
Right. And when I heard it, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember this.
That's funny. Well, before we get to all that, what's your wellness win for the week?
My wellness win, definitely, again, I always have the sport wellness win, was the Peachtree 10K that I ran. And then just a lot of, I think just little things. I think I've been doing simple better. Now that I know that was my word of the year, I think I've been pretty successful with that. And so I think that's definitely always been a wellness win, but I just really forgot about it. So yeah, what was your wellness win?
I was trying to think of it because right now I am like, I leave tomorrow on my trip out for my race. I did it. They couldn't get me in, or the car place could get me in. I didn't have enough time to have them check for my AC. I thought it would be like a 5-minute thing. And they're like, we need at least an hour. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have that kind of time. So I didn't get my AC fixed. I didn't have a chance for them to check through my car to drive 8 hours in my new old car. So I actually ended up renting a car. So I'm going to go pick that up after this. But things have been crazy. So I was thinking this morning, I'm like, what is a wellness win? The last few days have just been a whirlwind. But then I forgot that I did have a huge wellness win on Friday, which is in the last week, because now we record our podcast on Wednesdays. And I ended up going to this thing called Randori, and it's at jiu-jitsu. And when I started jiu-jitsu, I didn't know what anything meant. I didn't know what no-gi meant. I didn't know what Randori was. And I remember watching while Cora was training, there's this adult class where they would just they didn't have gis. It was just in tight clothes, kind of like what we race in. And it was just a bunch of people wrestling each other. And then for 5 minutes straight, and then they would go to another partner and 5 minutes straight wrestle each other. And I was looking at this who are these people? I would never, ever do that. Well, apparently I did because that's what Randori is. So it's a big, I think we had 10 or 12 people, and you partner up with somebody. And they didn't have my normal class on Friday because it was the day before the 4th of July. And I knew I was going to be gone this week. And all they do on holidays is Randori. And I was like, I can't do Randori. That's too hard. That's beyond my level. Well, then this lady who her daughter is in my daughter's jiu-jitsu class, she was like, oh yeah, I do Randori. And I'm like, what? You do Randori? She goes, yeah, it's no big deal. You just and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, if you go, I'll go. And she said, well, I'm not sure if I'll be able to go yet. I'll let you know Friday morning. So I wasn't planning on going. I hadn't heard from her. She texted me Friday morning. She's like, I'm in for Randori. And I was like, oh my gosh, my heart skipped a beat. I was so nervous. I was so intimidated by the whole concept of it. And it was no gi, which I've only done once. And that's where you don't wear a gi, you just wear your tight clothes. And so I don't know where to grab because I only do mostly gi classes. And so I kept thinking of how I could bail. And I was meeting her there, and she wouldn't care if I bailed because she goes by herself anyway. But then she texted me like 45 minutes before class, and she's like, hey, I don't have a ride. Is there any way you can pick me up? And I'm like, no, now I have to do it. So I went with her. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I was just like, I was so nervous. And I was, I think it's probably how most people feel their first triathlon. I just haven't felt that in so long because like mine and Wendy's first triathlon was 30 years ago. So it's hard to remember if that felt so intimidating jumping into where I think everyone else knows what they're doing but me. And everyone else has done this 100 times besides me.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I want to jump in. My first triathlon, I could totally be wrong, but I don't remember having any nerves or anticipation because I was a strong swimmer. And I'm like, well, what's the big deal? I'm going to swim. I'm going to bike. I'm going to run. I don't think I'd ever done a brick workout before that race, but I don't remember having any like anxiety or nerves about it. It was just, let's see what happens,
Right.
and the rest is history. It went well. It went great. But I never remember feeling nervous like I used to as an age group swimmer. I mean, my whole life, kindergarten through college, I was a wreck before every single competition. I mean, a wreck. Like nerves, puking, wanting to puke, just those awful feelings. And then when I started triathlon, I don't remember ever having those feelings. It was just kind of like, let's just who cares? Like, I know how to swim, I know how to bike, I know how to run.
Well, and maybe, Wendy, it's kind of like how you are with trail running now. Because as an age group swimmer, there was so much pressure on you. You put pressure on yourself, your coach, the people around you, because you were expected to do well. That when you started triathlon, you're like, I don't even know what this is. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And so there was no expectations. But then after a while, there started being expectations because you were so good.
Yeah.
And then starting trail running, you're like, this is a whole different sport. There's no expectations.
Yeah, trail running, there was no expectations, and I didn't know anyone. No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
But I had my own personal elite world champion, athlete. I had my own expectations that I was going to be good at it because it was an endurance race. But I wasn't good at the technical part of downhill running at all. And the first few years, I'd be like, what am I doing? Like after my first couple ultras, I wasn't nervous at all because I didn't know what I was doing. But then I started getting that inner competition again. And then I would beat myself up at the first downhill section of a trail run I did a couple of years. I'd beat myself up and be like, why am I doing this? I suck. I shouldn't be here. I'm an imposter. I hate this. Oh my gosh, I hate trail running. And then we'd get on an uphill and I'd be like, oh, all these people that just passed me an hour ago, I'm passing them on the uphill. So then the strategy and the skill and the understanding of it all I started learning and adapting, like you do when you start any new sport, like you and jujitsu, it's the same thing. It's just a different sport.
Right. So, yeah. So I don't think I felt out of place doing my first triathlon because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anyone there. I knew like my clients I was training. That's why we did it. We did it all together. I had no expectations, but I think because the same as you, I know how to swim. I know how to bike and I know how to run, even though I haven't ever like raced a triathlon. Nothing felt intimidating about it.
Not at all.
Yeah. But I'm thinking for people who maybe didn't grow up as athletes and they're not used to being in a sport or they're not used to competition, then they might feel intimidated and out of place. But I definitely feel that way in jiu-jitsu.
Right. Absolutely. Like I was talking to my massage therapist and she's like, you'd be great at high rocks. And I've thought about doing a high rocks event, There's one here in Atlanta. At least there was last year in October, and I thought about it. And it would be like doing a Spartan race. It would be a new activity, a different way of training. I would be good at it. Maybe not my first one, but after doing my first one, I would want to be good at it,
Right.
because I'm a competitive athlete. There's no way around that. It's like when I did my first Spartan race, it didn't go as planned because that's when I was having knee issues, and then I broke my knee 3 days later. But I think if I wouldn't have broke my knee, I think I would have continued with doing Spartan races, and I think I'd be doing the trifecta, and I think I'd be doing like the world championship Spartan trifecta, because that's what I like to do. I like to strive for the best. And what I struggle with, going back to the beginner triathlete, we talked about this on the podcast, maybe last a question and answer series. Triathletes can't swim, and there's so many athletes out there who are like, I got my first race next week and I still can't swim. And it's frustrating to me because I think there's, like, why are you doing it if you can't swim? I get scared for them because
Right.
I think they're going to struggle and they're going to panic and they're not going to be able to breathe. And again, I never had those issues, but I feel bad. And I just want to tell them, wait until you're comfortable with the swimming portion. And a lot of athletes want to do triathlon, whether it's a sprint or an Ironman, for the accomplishment, the finish line. And I get those feelings. And at the same time, if you can't swim, don't do it.
Right. Right.
These people literally, they can't swim. They're over a 3 minute per 100 swimmer.
Right.
They can't make it an Ironman cutoff. Maybe they're not doing an Ironman, but still, like, I don't know. Like, don't you want to get more comfortable in the water?
Don't you want to?
So it's just something that's been on my mind a lot lately is the triathletes and the boom and I think it's great competition. Do your first triathlon. It's an amazing experience. Do an Ironman. It's an amazing experience. Everyone should get to feel that emotion. And at the same time, please learn how to swim. Make an investment and learn how to swim.
Right. I'm actually, I coach, I just got done coaching masters. And one of the girls that started a couple weeks ago, I just found this out today because she just was like, I want to learn to swim. Like, she didn't know how to swim. She didn't know how to breathe, put her face in the water, blow out air. So we started from the beginning. She's been working on her drills I've been giving her, but she just told me today because she heard me tell someone I'm going out to do the 70.3 in New Mexico. And she was like, oh, I heard you were doing that. And I said, yeah. And she goes, I work for Ironman. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, she's like, I've worked for Ironman for 7 years.
Wow.
And I didn't know how to swim, but after being in that environment for the last 7 years, I think I want to do a triathlon. She's like, not an Ironman right now, but a triathlon. So that's why I'm learning to swim.
Good.
Because before,
Good. She's doing it. Learning
Yeah.
how to swim. She hasn't signed up for a race yet. She's going to learn how to swim
yes.
and then decide to do a race.
Right. And when I first asked her, when she first started coming, and I said, what are your goals? What are you doing here? And she's like, I just want to learn how to swim. And I was like, are you wanting to do a race? And she said, no. So I don't know if she wasn't comfortable yet, saying, I think she wanted to see if she could even learn to swim because she was kind of hesitant she didn't have the confidence that she would be able to learn. And now that we're like a month, I think we're 3 weeks into it, that she comes twice a week and she does one swim on her own. And I'm really good with really beginners of saying, here are the drills, do these drills. Mm-hmm. And now we're up to, she could do 4 strokes with her head in the water and then turn to her side and kick on her side for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then 4 strokes with her head down in the water. She just started able to do that today. And so I think now that she feels like, okay, I can see myself being able to swim at some point, I'm going to tell Kirsten that I actually want to do a triathlon one day.
Yeah. Yay.
I know. So yeah, so she's doing exactly what you said. She's worked for Ironman, so she probably sees the people who get pulled out of the swim, can't make the swim, have died in the swim, have had all the swim problems. So yeah, learn to swim.
Learn to swim, and again, do a shorter race before you do an Ironman. Like back in my day, there were 5 Ironmans. Like, Ironman was not a craze. Like, you had no choice but start small.
Yeah.
And you have a choice now. You can start small, you can start big. I always learn how to swim, start small. It's a lifestyle. maybe it's not a lifestyle for everyone, but I think if you really approach it as it's a lifestyle, then you're willing to take your time and invest in what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And it doesn't have to be over 6 months. It can be over 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So with all that being said, my no-gi randori, even though I was so intimidated and it scared me, I was really transparent. I grappled with 5 men and 2 women. So it's 5 minutes of like nonstop grappling, and then you get a minute rest. Mm-hmm. And then you match up with somebody else. So I ended up with 7 different people. So 35 minutes of really hard stuff. I was so sweaty. I got mat burn on my knee. But I was really transparent with my partners that I hadn't ever met before, because I think 3 of them I'd never met. And I said, when we got matched up, I said, hey, just so you know, this is only my 2nd time doing no-gi, and I've never done randori, and I'm a little intimidated. And I was just open and honest about it. Mm-hmm. And so they knew, like, I'm not going to just like take her and fold her in half and start choking her in 2 seconds, because she's nervous about this. Yeah. And we're all in there to like enjoy the sport. We're not trying to self-defense out in the parking lot because somebody attacked us. Like, we're here to learn and help each other. So it ended up being a very good experience. I was so proud of myself for doing it. I would do it again, definitely. I still would want to only go if like one of my girlfriends that does it joins me. I don't want to just step into a bunch of guys I don't know. But I had a really positive experience, and that was probably the most proud of myself I've been in a really long time.
Good. I love that.
I know. So word of the year, your do simple better. How do you feel like that's played into your life this first half of the year?
Well, it's hard to say because it's not like I was focused on my word of the year. I didn't have it on the top of my mind when I was trying to do simple better. I think I started doing simple better before that actually became my word of the year. And I remember I started telling athletes I coach, do simple better. If you can't walk a mile, be able to walk a mile before you advance to 2 miles or 3 miles. If you can't swim, start with the basics. Learn the basics of swimming, breathing, body balance, rotation, and kick. Work on reducing drag before you work on increasing propulsion. Because when you can breathe and reduce drag, the propulsion part is so much easier. Yeah. So really just always going back to the basics, the foundations, the fundamentals is really important for not only in your sport, but in life in general. So how have I been doing? I don't know. I mean, I think my personality is usually simplicity, like I have nice gear, basic gear, but I don't have top of the line stuff, because you got to develop the engine on the bike before you invest in a $10,000 bike, so I think I've always been really good about doing the basics and getting the minimal equipment or doing the minimal amount of training for maximum results, instead of just going full on in with all this gear investment and all this training investment. Start small, adapt, build, start, recover, adapt, recover. It's like periodization of life. So, yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything that my life has been less stress, I think, this year compared to last year. I was rebuilding my business, which was stressful. I mean, when I was recovering from my patella, I was kind of going out of business. So now that my business is booming and my training, and I'm not injured, and I'm feeling good, and I have well-established training goals and events, and I'm not getting FOMO, and I'm not signing up for every 100-miler that I used to sign up for before I broke my patella. I'm very balanced. I feel like doing simple better had made me very balanced with relationships, job, sport, family, finance.
Is there anything that is in your life right now that you feel like you would want to simplify? Like, is there any area of your life where you're still like, this seems like too complicated, or it's a little overwhelming?
So I actually started that. So when it comes to business, I do a lot of I do a lot of designing on Canva. I do a lot of content creation for Instagram, and that's where I spend a lot of my time because it's kind of was a challenge for me, and now it's actually fun. It's something I really enjoy doing. And I feel sometimes my business is a little chaotic. Like, where's my video? Is it in my email? Is it on my phone? Is it on my YouTube channel? Did I already post it? So I started last week really, because again, I got to get some things done, and then I feel like I can work on the organization part of it. Deleting emails, deleting photos, deleting videos from my phone, and just streamlining the places, kind of coming up with more systems. So I know, like, I went to my YouTube channel and I started downloading some reels that we had from the podcast. And I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that video here. I want to use it for another content for Instagram. So I feel like that's really an area that I'm trying to do simple better, and decluttering my folders and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have that on my list right now, actually, because I'm the same way. Like, I'll take a video or take a photo and I'm like, oh, I want to send this to this person or post it to this or use it for this. And then then I get busy, and then I'm putting out fires or doing my next thing I need to do. And so they all just accumulate.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, and I used to do this when I would do my long rides indoors, I would get so much done. Like, I would spend like 2 hours going through organizing my photos, putting them in folders, or deleting things I didn't need, utilizing things that I wanted to utilize, and then deleting them. And I got really, when I was doing a lot of long riding inside, but this year I didn't do any of those long rides inside because it was so nice in Colorado that I started biking outside in February. Mm-hmm. And then in the summer, I just don't have time to do anything long. So I think that was one of the things I was thinking of in the fall, because there's 3 things I really am making a priority for next month when swim team's over. I need to finish unpacking my apartment. I still haven't hung up most of my things. My room is bare and stuff is in boxes. All I have is my bed and my clothes, basically. So completely unpack my apartment and get that organized. My other thing is I let my USA swim coaching lapse. Mm-hmm. My USA swimming coaching certification lapse, and I want to redo that. So that's my second thing I'm going to work on over the next couple months. And then I completely forgot what the third thing was, but I have them written down. Obviously, it's not that important. But yeah, definitely, I know what you mean with decluttering your media, so that it's a little more simple when utilizing it for your business.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and usually holiday weekends allow me to do stuff like that. So I think because we just had a holiday weekend, July 4th holiday weekend, I was able to kind of really focus on it. And then once I get going, I'm like, I don't want to stop.
Right. Yeah, I thought I was going to have if you listen to our last week's podcast, my thing I was most excited about is I was going to have so much time last weekend, but I ended up having my daughter instead of her being with her dad. So it kind of threw everything off, but it was still a great weekend.
Yeah.
So my word is for this year is allow. And I still see some places where I'm open to allowing different things into my life. But I've been thinking a lot of a word that, because of the journey I've been on with my financial stuff the last 6 months, another word keeps coming into my brain. And I've never switched my word halfway through the year because it's my word of the year. But I'm allowing just things to happen as they come up. And I like allow, but the word contentment has been really like heavy in my brain, because last month I did a horrible job of, not horrible. I did not do a great job on my finances. And in the summer, since I make more money, I get sloppy. And even though I made more money, I spent more money. So at the end of the month, I was still like, I went a little bit over my budget, not super bad like I have in the past, but it was enough that I was annoyed with myself because I've been doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of what I want to focus on is contentment, because I feel like I want to practice being content with what I have and where I'm at in life. So it's not just like items. Like I don't buy a lot of items, but I want to be content with like who I am in this moment and the food that I have to work with, instead of like I always want to order out, or I always want different supplements or more supplements or new supplements. And I just want to practice being content, because I think that will go a long way with my financial goals, but also exactly what you were talking about, just living a more simple life, because I've always strived to live a simple life. And I feel like my life used to be super simple until I had my daughter. And then like, if anyone has ever seen me post pictures of her room, she has more toys and more clothes and more books and more stuffies than I think should be legally allowed in a home. So, but I also know that she is a very imaginative, creative girl, and I see her utilizing every single piece of everything she owns. So she'll make something out of Legos if her Barbie dream house doesn't have that piece of furniture. So it's like she has a million Legos, but I don't want to get rid of her Legos because she uses them. Or she has this cafe thing. I don't want to get rid of her cafe because she uses all those little pieces of food, and her Barbies go on dates at the cafe. And then she makes their big meal and she takes their order on a little pad and paper. So I don't want to give away all of her crafts because she utilizes everything. And I want to foster that creativity that she has. So I don't really touch any of her stuff, but it drives me crazy. And so it made me think like, I want to teach her contentment as well, because I don't think she's ever had to really be content with not very much, because she gets pretty much everything she wants. So it's just been something kind of on my mind, is that I don't want to be like, nope, allow is not my word anymore, but maybe add contentment and really focus on what can I do and how can I structure my life so that I do feel more content with what I have, where I'm at, who I am, and see what that plays out. I just feel a draw to that.
Good. I love that. That's great.
I know. And it goes along with the simplicity thing, because I remember, so my friend Tara and I, every month we talk on the phone, and she used to live in Colorado, and every month we would meet up, and we were kind of like success partners. And we kind of went over what our goals are for our life, and we held each other accountable. And every month we make 10 goals that we want to accomplish by the next year. So like we just talked last week. So July 2026, we wrote down 10 goals that we want to accomplish by July 2027. And we've been doing this for, I think 17 or 18 years. I should try to go back and see. And it's really fun to look back at what my old goals were. And we were discussing this last week, how my goals used to be very specific. Like I want to make, let's say my goal was to make $5,000 a month. I would say, I want to make $5,000 a month doing this. And now I'm more like open to how it works. So like, I want to make $5,000 a month. I don't care how. Like, as long as the end result is that $5,000. So one of the things that has been my goal for the last 10 years was always to have $10,000 in savings. And I've never, ever had $10,000 in savings. And now I do, because I sold my car and bought a cheap car and put the difference in savings. And so we were talking about how funny that was, that's been my goal every month for 10 years. And look, would I have ever expected 10 years ago that I would accomplish my goal by selling a car and buying a cheap car? No, I had no idea how I just always wanted to have $10,000 in savings. So I think that's what the word of the year kind of does, is it just leaves us open to, this is something I want to feel in my life. Your simplicity, my allowing things to happen, my contentment, and however that happens, that's what I want. I want it to just start to show up and kind of maybe not have it on top of the mind all the time, but every once in a while be reminded of it. And that's why I was thinking, it's halfway through the year. We're halfway through 2026, maybe kind of revisit why we picked it, how it's showing up in our lives, and see where else we can make that happen.
Yeah. And right now, do simple better, simplicity. I got to declutter my media, my folders.
But you have time to do that in the fall, don't you?
Yeah, I have time to do a little bit every day. Like I go to my email and I have like 20 folders. Some of them are athletes, some of them are named athletes with all their like stuff that I want to remember now and save stuff. But I'm like, I gotta go through that. Like, I haven't coached these athletes in 10 years. Why do I still have a folder named after? So stuff like that. And when I started creating content just like 2 or 3 years ago on Instagram, I have all these saved draft folders of ideas that I haven't even looked at in 2 or 3 years. So like, why do I have it saved? Let's just look at it. I probably already created it and delete it.
Yeah.
And it's so freeing, especially going through my phone.
Yes.
And deleting a lot of photos and videos that I don't need, and duplicates, and just freeing up some space. Felt really good.
So I did this thing, it was a few Januaries ago. So I actually, because I was looking through my contacts the other day, because we need to hire some people just for a couple days to help time and do some volunteer work, or not volunteer, but we rely on our parents for volunteers for all our swim meets. Mm-hmm. But not everyone can volunteer. So if they can't volunteer or don't want to, they can have a buyout. And they pay us basically $20 an hour. So instead of volunteering for 6 hours, they can pay us $120. And then we find other people like some 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids who could use an extra $20 an hour, maybe some older brothers and sisters of the kids. And then we ask them if they want to come work these swim meets, and we'll pay them $20 an hour. So I was looking through my contacts the other day to see, I'm like, oh, do I know anyone who would love an extra, $100 just timing a swim meet for 5 hours? And I was noticing I haven't done this in so many years, because I have a lot of contacts of people who I haven't talked to in 5 years. Mm-hmm. And so this is what I did a few years ago. So this, if anyone's like, oh, my phone is so crowded and cluttered and I don't even know where to start, I picked a month, and I believe it was a January, just because it was a New Year's thing. And each day I went through a letter. So in my contacts. So on the first, I went through all my A contacts. And I was like, nope, don't talk to them anymore. Yeah, I might want to reach out to this person, and went through all the A's. On the second, I went through all the B's. On the third, I went through all the C's. Some days, like Q, I don't think I have any Q's. Awesome. I don't have to do anything that day. That's a day off from my contacts. And so after 26 days, you've gone through all your contacts. And you could do that with your file folders on your computer, or your or photos. Like you'd say, okay, this month I'm going to do I'm going to do 2024. So on the first day, I'm going to go through all my January photos from 2024. On the second day, all my February photos. In 12 days, and it's only going to take you 10 minutes a day. Maybe if it was a crazy month, like I had Cora June of 2018, I probably have 10,000 photos from that month. That might take me 45 minutes that day. But there might be April of 2026, nothing happened. That might take me 5 minutes. And it just do something systematically, so that in a shorter amount of time, instead of just being like, oh, when I have time, I'm going to do something, because then it kind of divides your focus into all these different files or all these different apps, or my notes on my phone. I've done that. So something more systematically. So A, I can stay focused on this one task, and B, I can see that there's going to be an end date.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's kind of how I was doing it. I went back in January of I just started with the current year, and then I went February, March, April, May. I did one month a day, and now I'm going to go back like 2024, 2020, whatever it is, and it's just such a good feeling.
Yeah, get that stuff out of there. I'm going to commit to do that because normally in August I do have a little bit more time. Well, the beginning of August, my daughter's still out of school and I'm done with swim team, so I actually want to do a lot of stuff with her because the summer goes by so crazily that I feel like I haven't gotten to do it. Like we've only gone to the pool once. No, twice. That's it in the whole summer. And like, that's one of our favorite things to do. And I think we've gone roller skating once. So it's just, we haven't had a chance to do a lot of things. So when swim team's over, we'll have more of an opportunity to do that. And then as soon as she gets back into school, I'm going to chunk some of these things and do a little organization. I feel like that's kind of my time. And then in September, that's when my time to like start new things is.
Yeah, good.
So that's my plan. What are you most excited about in this upcoming week, Wendy?
Just thinking about that. Taper. I've been doing all these races.
I know.
When I did Chattanooga Olympic, I didn't do any taper. When I did the Peachtree 10K, I PR'd, just by the way, it was a wellness swim because it was my second best 10K Peachtree run time, and I've done it.
I know, so awesome.
It was really good. At age 53, I'm really proud of that. So I'm ready to taper for my 50K. I hit a point. I went to Brasstown Bald again, the High Peak in Georgia. Very proud of that. It's my third time going there in the last 6 or 8 weeks. 2-hour drive. I did it. I went Monday. I wanted to do 20 miles. I got an 18 with 6,000 feet of elevation gain. And I'm really proud I did that because I wanted to quit at mile 12. And I said, no, just you got to do at least this 6-mile loop and get in 2K more. And I just am like, okay, I'm so done with such big amount of elevation gain. So this week, I'm probably going to my total week before my taper, I'm probably going to have about 12,000 feet of gain over the course of the week. And so I'm kind of ready to be done with the volume of elevation I've been training. And then I'll be excited to go to my race. Like I enjoy tapers. Like it's a planned, what I do before the tapers plan, and then how I do the tapers plan. And I really enjoy it. And then I'll be really excited to go to my race and check it off and see how I do. It'll be in Utah, so I'll be close to Colorado. And then kind of get ready for fall, because then all of a sudden it's going to be, I feel like it's fall because our kids go back the first week of August. And so I feel like, oh my God, they go back to school in 3 weeks. The summer just started. The summer officially started 3 weeks ago. Right. And you saying like you haven't done much with going to the pool much over the summer. Officially, summer's only been 3 weeks. You still have 2.5 more months of summertime. Right. But living in the school schedule, it just makes for a very short summer because the kids really only have, like here in Georgia, they only really have 8 weeks off. But in 6 weeks after they start school, 6 weeks later, they have a fall break and like the end of September. So even though they have a shorter summer, they have a fall break, and then they have the holiday break, and then they have a winter break and a spring break, and they have a lot of breaks. So I think that's why they get enough breaks with their shorter summer.
Right. But the thing that's hard here with summer is if you're like us, we're swimmers. In Colorado, pools are only open outside for the most part. Like the pools that the kids want to play in, they're open from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
So once the beginning of September comes, they close all the pools.
And Memorial Day is the end of May. So summer's really been probably 5 weeks.
Right. Yeah. So
that's true.
So yeah. So I'm also excited. Well, that's what I was thinking when you were talking about your taper. I love the feeling of I got so much in that the taper that I'm ready to taper. I love that. So when I used to do really high mileage training back before I had a child, and I would like like a normal day was like 3 hours of training for me or 4 hours. And I did all the things. I was rowing every day. I was like, I could fit in yoga every day. I could fit in everything. I loved at the end of my last week before taper, I was so ready to taper because I put in so much mileage. And this taper for me this time is really weird because I really only upped things like a week ago when I started cramming for my race. And so I don't feel like I don't need a taper, but what I'm tapering, what I'm working on is getting my recovery score on my Whoop to green.
Yeah, I
erased
awesome.
it. So
I don't live off what my Garmin tells me, but I do like when my Garmin tells me my training readiness is high.
Yes.
Because after I did my race in May, Quest 50K, my training score was low for like a month because I know I didn't do the proper recovery and my training score was just not going up. And I could feel it. It always took me a long time to recover because I didn't allow my body to recover right away. I could feel it. So like this week, my training score's been high and I'm like, yay. And my training score was high for the 10K. So mentally I'm like, okay, I'm ready to bust out a good 10K. Like
right.
My training score was high before the Chattanooga triathlon. So I'm like, mentally, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. My training score is high, but I knew I was ready. I felt ready. I felt rested. I really prioritized sleep, like electronics, everything off at 8 p.m. I'm going to doze off by 9:30, like so I can recover.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I get it.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Like all summer, my score's been in the red. It's like, you're about to die. Like, you got to get your shit together, girl. And then,
yeah, I mean, mine was telling me rest today, rest today, rest today, rest today. And it was telling me that, but I'm like, no, I'm running a 10K. This is the 10K I did a month ago.
Right.
I'm like, no, I want to go PR this 10K. And what happened? Even though it was telling me rest and your training score is low, training readiness is low, I still PR'd this 10K from a year ago. So I'm like,
right.
Why? I'm like, I don't follow Garmin. I mean, it's fun, but I don't live and die because my training score is low
right.
and my training readiness is low. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do the workout plan. It may like tell me, okay, yeah, doing the workout as planned, you're going to have to modify. Your Garmin was kind of telling you something. But I mean, I've knocked it out of the park when Garmin's telling me to rest.
Yesterday I was going to do like I did like a 30 to 40 minute, pretty like laid back swim just to feel good. And then I was going to run for 20 to 30 minutes after, depending on how I felt. But I was doing some breaststroke to stretch out my hips. And every time I did a breaststroke kick, my right quad would cramp. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, if I'm cramping on my easy breaststroke kick, then maybe that, and I was like taking the electrolytes, I was doing all the things, but I was like, okay, maybe I'll just skip the run. And so I skipped the run. I felt like I was so lazy yesterday. And my strain was like 8, which is like, that's like me in a day of doing nothing. But I woke up and my recovery was like 80%. And it hasn't been that high all summer. So I like to listen to my body and see if my score matches what I think would happen. Kind of like when we used to train with heart rate and then we didn't, but we still know our heart rate. And then if we look to see if we were right and we were right, we're like, yep, I knew it. I know my body so well.
Well, on that note, this 10K I did last month, it was only like 2 weeks after Quest. Maybe it was a week after Quest. I don't remember. My Garmin 10K prediction was a low, like 40, let's say 43:30. And I'm like, oh God, I've been training for a 50K with all this climbing. I don't think so. But I was close. I did like a 43:45 or something. So right. I'm like, all right, okay, that Garmin prediction was valid. Like Garmin predicted this and I came pretty close. So okay, I mean, I'm paying attention because athletes do. I had another athlete that I coach in Masters. Her Garmin told her training readiness was low, so she took a day off. I'm like, that's not why I would take a day off. Right. I would keep that into account, but I would, again, I've proven Garmin wrong. So it's really important. The AI coach.
Yes. Well, it's funny
We did
because
that last week.
when I was swimming with Kat the other day, her Garmin was telling her she needs to take some rest and she needed to increase her threshold work. Like at the same time, it was telling her.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
she goes, my Garmin is totally gaslighting me.
Totally.
She's like, he's confusing me. He's telling me to take a rest day, but then he's telling me I need more anaerobic and threshold work. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, listen to your body.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about my race. I leave in the morning.
I'm excited about your race.
I know. So I just love I'm so glad I decided to do it because I love a first year race because nobody knows what to expect. Because this is the first year they've done it here. So I'm excited to let everyone know how it went. And I'm just going to go out and do what I can. And it's either going to be a complete disaster or a complete revelation. Either way, it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing it. I'm excited for you.
I know.
I think you're going to surprise yourself. Because just because I surprised myself in Chattanooga, I'm like 30 years of consistent training leads to amazing results. Whether you prepared the last 8 weeks or not, you got this 30 years behind you. You're going to do fine.
Yeah. And I feel confident about my nutrition. We talked about that. And that to me, is a huge determinant of success in a long race is your nutrition. And I think I've been helping myself mentally by, there's people coming from Las Vegas and California and New York and Arizona who live at sea level. Mm-hmm. And this race, I don't know, it starts at 7,500 feet or something. Mm-hmm. So
it's huge.
I'll take it all in and see what happens.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have anything else, I want to hear about your guys' word of the year. Because I know we asked at the beginning of the year, we had a few people respond because it always kind of gives me ideas of maybe that's something I want to focus on. Or, I think it's neat to hear. I think people's words of the year really help get to know that person and where they are in their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you guys want to share your word of the year, we're all ears. We'd love for you to share in the comments. Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for being here.
Make it a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten.
If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes.
We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review.
And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week.
Thanks for listening.
Make it a great day.